So in this video, we're going to look at the simplest type of animation, which is frame by frame animation. And this can be done really effectively in Adobe Animate. So what we're going to look at is really one basic tool, and it's the paintbrush tool. So over here, there are two brushes. There's this one called the fluid brush, and then there's this one called the classic brush. So I'm going to go into the classic brush. I believe this brush is really used for tablet work if we had tablets. So right here, I'm going to take the classic brush. This is the one without that circle. Down below, you can see I can choose a color. So the fill color right here, if I click on that box, over here comes, over here, let me do that again. Over here is color, so I'll choose a color that I want. Choose something that we'll all be able to see. Okay. All right. And if I hover over here, you can see the size of my brush. The size of my brush can be changed. Over here is the size, and you can kind of see how the size moves by sliding the slider. But I gotta say, I think that's a little bit slow to have to move my mouse over here to change my brush size. So I'll show you another way, and that's using a quick command key on your keyboard, which is a really good one. Next to the P key, you'll see brackets, and there's bracket left and bracket right will make your brush smaller or larger. So I recommend getting used to your quick command keys. That again is the bracket keys next to the P key to make your brush smaller or larger. Alright, so we're ready to get started. I have my paintbrush selected. Let's just take a quick look at the layers here and our timeline. You can see I have a frame or keyframe here that's blank. The reason I know it's blank is because it's not filled in, it's only outlined. And this happens to be on frame 1. So once I paint something, and I'm just going to paint a blob, okay, notice that that keyframe has changed now because there is something actually drawn on it. So because there's something that's been painted on that keyframe, now it is filled in. That's saying that I have something on that frame now. All right, so if I wanted to make a frame by frame of this blob moving around, I would need to make another keyframe. So if I press the F7 key on your keyboard, and if that doesn't work, because sometimes that could be your volume key or something for your Mac, if that isn't working, the F7 key, you can come up to your system preferences and you can make sure that under keyboard here, this is with the Mac obviously, with the keyboard you want to make sure that this is turned on, and it's basically saying I want to use my F keys up top on the keyboard there as function keys for a program. So make sure this is turned on. I think the PC will automatically do this. Alright, so what I've done is I've pressed F7 and that creates a blank keyframe. So I'm going to draw the next blob, but where do I draw the next blob? Because I can't see the previous one. I want to make it look like it's just slowly moving over to the right. So they have something called onion skin, and they've put it right here. Onion skin looks like this. It's this double circle here, one that's a little bit shaded. And if I click it, notice I can see the previous frame. So now I'm on frame 2. I'm going to paint the next blob. And I kind of painted it a little bit over from the first one. I'm going to press F7 again, and notice now the onion skin is showing me the previous 2 frames. So I'm going to make the next blob. Okay, and I'm going to press F7. So as you can see, onion skin by default will show me the previous 2 frames as a little preview of where things were. I could change that, and it's right here, this shaded area with this little blue line for this. If I drag it more over here, I can reveal 3 frames of onion skin, or I could reveal less, maybe only 1. It's your choice. So I'm going to just keep it at the default, revealing 2 frames. and I'm going to paint my next frame. Okay, and I'm going to press F7, and I'm going to kind of keep going here, paint and F7, paint and F7. So I think that at this point, I'm going to make my blob look like he's kind of stay in place here, maybe start to flatten out, and then maybe come back up. Go up in the air, and then come back down, and hit the ground. Okay, so I'm going to press return and see how that looks, and you can kind of see where it looks like he's bouncing. And look, I can see I have a little bit of mistake here, and that might be because I pressed F7 maybe 2 times and I left a blank frame. I could turn onion skin off just to see what's going on, and you can see I have a blank frame here right in the middle. No big deal. I could just click it and then right click it and remove frames, and what that does, it will just kind of compress the other frames and remove that one. So no big deal. So I could slide the time slider if I like and look at it this way, or I can press return or enter on the keyboard to play it. But then there's one other way of playing it, which is exporting it. And that is by pressing Command Return or Control Enter on a PC. So Command Return will export it into a shockwave file, an SWF. And you can kind of preview your animation in real time, the real speed. So this is a frame-by-frame animation. Be ready, because we are going to be talking about this more in class and actually making our own. All right, so good luck, and I'll see you soon.